Thank you very much. On this same topic of time,
Yes.
some scientists that I've spoken with in the last year are studying the possibility of the fact that time for us on the Earth at this time
Yes.
seems to have changed in some way, so that what was once, in other words, the way they're expressing it,
Yes.
is that perhaps what was once a full hour
Yes.
many years ago
Yes.
now seems to be more like, just arbitrarily stating it, something like perhaps 45 minutes or something,
Yes.
that there has been some sort of a compression.
Yes.
And that
Well, this coincides with your change in consciousness about your relationship to the idea of needing so much time or not needing so much time.
Well, are you saying that we're feeling that we're needing more or less time? I don't.
Less. You're creating less time.
We're creating less time.
Yes.
Well, I guess that's good. But it seems with all these time-saving devices that we have and the computers and so forth, we seem to be they're supposed to save time, and yet it seems as though so much more time is being expended with these time-saving devices.
Maybe, maybe not. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever experienced getting simply totally lost in something that you are doing so that you do not experience the passage of time?
Yes.
Well, the point I am making is that when you have that experience, it's not just that you're ignoring the passage of time, you're actually not creating the time you don't experience. And that's how you stay young. Because when you live in the moment and don't create time, you don't age. So when you do what you love to do, and time flies by, it isn't that time is flying, it's not being generated at all. When then you reconnect to the mass consensus time frame of your society and agree, oh well, yes, I must have been there for 5 hours because I agree with you that it is now 5 o'clock, you're reconnecting into the consensus out of convenience, but that doesn't mean you actually spent 5 hours doing what you were doing. You spent only the experiential time you actually had. And if when you started and then when you finished, it felt like it was only 5 minutes, for you, literally, it only was 5 minutes. You follow?
Yes. But is there anything that can be... Is this all in our minds, or is there anything that can be empirically measured so that, in fact, for our planet, something has happened to the way that we measure time?
Well, you see, that's
real?
exactly the point. The way you measure time is what determines what time is, because time doesn't exist without your choice to measure it. And as you change your consciousness and your idea of yourself, you measure things differently. So no, it doesn't exist without your measurement of it. And as you change the measurement, so you change time.
So when they say that time is speeding up, it's simply our perception
Yes.
of what's happening.
Yes, because you're creating it to do so. You follow?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Now then, let us look into the idea, once again, of soul blueprinting, and the idea that we have discussed of your own personal journeys, and the idea that has been discussed of things that you are bringing in from parallel realities, other time tracks, other lives concurrently coexistent, and agreements and themes that you have made with soul family members or others, and random acts, and take all of this notion and understand how it overlays with your pie chart, indicative of different frequencies, different slices, different vibrations, different degrees, different percentages, so to speak, of all the different vibrations that form your collective history as you have created it to be in linear space-time, and how you filter all of this through your personality prism to create the reality generation and experiential circuit. And please understand that when you look at all of this, that it is all a symbol. It is all a symbol of a vibration in your consciousness. That's all it is. All these charts, all the mandalas, all the words, all the numbers, all the writings, all the graphics, it's a symbol of a vibration in your consciousness. Because that's all there is consciousness. That's all you are, is consciousness. You have created the entire journey that you have created within your consciousness. You have not really come from anywhere. You have not really gone anywhere. You have not really come from any when, or gone any when, or are going any when. It is always here and now, but from a different perspective. So experience and creation are nothing but shifts in perspective of the same one here and now that always has been, is now, and always will be. But the point is that this here and now, in principle, is infinite. And being infinite and eternal can appear from different perspectives to be an infinite number of things, seen in an infinite number of ways. That's what all of you and all of us are all the different ways of looking at the one, here and now, all that is. We are all, as we have said, the eyes of God, looking at itself from all the different angles it can, knowing itself, seeing itself, perceiving itself, experiencing itself in all the ways that are possible within the idea that it is. So, your life is a microcosm of that idea. You are the core of your life. You are the all that is of your life. And if you wish to see yourself as a different person, acting in different ways, all you need to do is go to that core, go to that center, and understand you are already all the different things you think you are becoming, or you think you have been. You are already those things right now. To whatever degree you are willing to know that, not just believe it, but know it with absolute certainty, is the degree to which you will perceive that you are who you prefer to be. That's all it takes. The willingness to know who you really are, what you really are, the willingness to see yourself from the perspective of your preference, knowing it is just as valid as any other perspective you have ever had or will ever have. And it's all about how you see yourself. Knowing that each is valid, each is true, that all truths are true, that all paths are valid, and just another way of being who and what you are. Give in to that would be my suggestion. The rewards are great. And we talk of knowing. Knowing in some sense is that which is beyond believing. Knowing is that which is ingrained within you without even thinking about it, beyond a shadow of a doubt, without hesitation, without even the concept of process. It is simply that which you know to be true. Which you know to be true. And if you really take stock of what is simply obvious in life, then you will know what we know about you. That you are eternal, infinite, aspects of creation. That you determine utterly what you experience in your reality, that you have freedom to choose forever and ever who and what you are, because you are made in the image of God. And that means you are an aspect of all that is. And an aspect of all that is, that knows itself as an aspect of all that is, will see the work of all that is in everything that he or she does. Will see the work of all that is in every reflection that you see of yourself. Be it light, be it dark, doesn't matter. All that is all that is. Without exception, without exception, without exception. All that is unconditional, without condition, without condition, without condition. This is the thing we mean when we talk about letting it be obvious. For even if many of you would only simply follow the literal dictionary definition of such words as unconditional when you apply them to all that is, that knowledge alone would erase most of your questions and doubts. For if you truly believed, if you truly knew that when you say that all that is truly unconditionally loving, that you really mean it is unconditional, then there would be absolutely no condition, no circumstance or situation in which all that is would ever do anything that would be less than unconditional in its love for you. And that right there would allow you to know there is no need to judge yourselves, find yourselves wanting, lacking, unworthy, undeserving. Because if all that is loves you unconditionally, why not take its word for it that you deserve it? Now, you can argue with God if you want, because that's your right. God loves you so unconditionally that it allows you to disagree with it, that you are unconditionally loved. And that shows you exactly how unconditionally loved you are, because you can actually know or believe or think or experience that you're not unconditionally loved. And that is real unconditional love. Doesn't try to make you believe you're unconditionally loved. Doesn't force you in any way, shape, or form to believe or to know you are unconditionally loved. That's how unconditionally loved you are. So take that to heart as an obvious indicator that if you are allowed to think you are undeserving, then you are certainly allowed to believe you're anything else that you want to believe, that you want to know that you are. Why not? Perhaps more of you would find greater benefit in your spiritual path, in your spiritual growth, in your spiritual pursuit, if instead of asking why, more often you would ask why not? Why not? And to understand that physical reality as an experience is no less spiritual than any other experience, because you are spirit. It has been said many times on your planet by those that understand and recognize that you are not humans having a spiritual experience. You are spirits having a human experience. So allow yourself to understand that the human experience is just as spiritual as any other experience, because a spirit is having it. How can it be anything other than spiritual? A spirit is having the experience. And so, as many of your Zen masters say, chopping wood, carrying water, the so-called normal things of life can be just as spiritual an act as anything. Anything. If done from a place where you know who you are, and done from a place where you understand the relationship of what you are doing to all that is. And done from a place where you know that it is simply one valid way, just one, out of an infinite variety of ways to express all that is, to have an experience of all that is, for all that is to have an experience of itself. All that is, when it experiences itself, chopping wood, carrying water, cleaning out a closet, does those things in that sense as all that is, in the way that all that is would do it. You can too. Remember that everything is neutral. The meaning you give it is the effect you get out of it. So if you chop wood, carry water, clean your closet as if it is somehow beneath all that is dignity to do such a thing, you will only experience it in a limited way. And all the frustration and resistance will come to bear that are part and parcel of the idea of viewing something as beneath, not worthy of, less than. But if you do it as all that is, then you will find the miracles and the magic are the natural order of things. And the idea of chopping wood, carrying water, cleaning closets will be done in a manner that is itself an expression of joy. And you never know what that actually may mean. You may actually wind up physically doing it yourself, or by staying in the appropriate state of being in unconditional joy with the idea that everything is an expression of all that is, then you may find that you will attract into your life synchronistically some unexpected methodology by which that thing will get done, and it won't necessarily be in the way that you thought. Perhaps someone will simply knock on your door and say, "I'm here to clean your closet for you." Perhaps you will open the closet door and all of the stuff will simply be gone. Or perhaps you will roll up your sleeves and say, "The time it's going to take me to clean this closet is going to give me the time I need to think about a process I'm going through, and it will be the perfect amount of time, and by the finish of the cleaning of the closet, I will have come to a conclusion that I need to come to. So I will use it as a meditation." There are infinite ways in which you could look at this if you come from the perspective of doing it from the viewpoint of all that is. The point is, your imagination will illuminate, and your synchronicity and life will illuminate for you what would be the path of least resistance and the most joyful way in which something can be experienced if you will come from that vibration, and not the vibration that somehow this can't possibly be something that has anything at all to do with what I really should be doing. But if that is what you have created, then at that moment, you have created it in your life for a reason. Even if you've created it so that you will know you never want to create it again, it's still there at that moment for the reason to learn that lesson. So using it fully will allow you to learn the lesson and find out you may never need to do that again. But in order for you to find that out, you have to use it for what it is when it's there. Because if you ignore it, it's like not seeing a stepping stone and not stepping on it, refusing to step on the next stepping stone and yet wanting to get to the stepping stone beyond it, which cannot happen unless you step on this one first, because it is designed to get you to the next one. If you see it that way, you will step on it with joy, and it will propel you automatically to the next one very rapidly, very efficiently, very smoothly, very easily. But the longer you sit there and stubbornly refuse that that stepping stone has anything at all to do with you, the longer you will stay on the stone you are on, and the farther away that other stone will look. Because it will seem as if you have filled the gap between the stones with so much space and time that you will never get there. It's all a matter of perspective. Because perspective is all there is. There is no physical reality other than the perspective of the experience you choose to have. That's what physical reality is. Your perspective of it. They are not two separate things. Even your quantum physicists now understand there is actually no observation without an observer. The observer and the observation create each other simultaneously. Your perspective of physical reality is physical reality, and thus becomes your experience of physical reality. Perspective and experience, in that sense, are synonymous. Does that make sense to you? All right. Then relax. Let some of the air out of your thoughts. Deflate. Deflate. Let out all the extra things that don't really need to be there. Keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. Take a deep breath in. And let out all the things that you don't really need to keep carrying with you like excess baggage. Yes, very good. There you go. Now you're getting it. Many of you have been carrying these bags since childhood. Drop them. You don't need them on the trip you're on. Everything you need will be provided for when you get there. Like a fine resort hotel. You are going to a spa, and everything you need is there. Everything. Transportation, clothing, food, relaxation, enjoyment, scenery, people, discussion, everything. Everything you need is already there. Stop toting along all those heavy bags. There's no room for them on the plane. It's a very small plane. It's